All right, let's get some opinions. What do you think of the new Champions League ball? This being the men's version, this being the women's version. Let me know down below in the comments. What's going on, guys? Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com bringing you my review of the brand new 2019-2020 Champions League balls that will be used in the group stages. The men's version right here and the women's version right here. Both look pretty crazy, and for the first time in a long time, actually featuring a pretty drastic redesign for the Champions League ball. We're gonna go over all of the changes made in comparison to previous year's Champions League balls, and basically come to the conclusion as to whether or not these $165 match balls, which is very expensive, are worth your time or money. You're probably also wondering, am I gonna be holding the balls like this the entire video? Well, stick around to find out. I should also mention that if you're interested in either of these two match balls, you can click the little pop-up in the corner of the screen or the first link down below in the description. That's going to take you to the review page on my website where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $165 retail price. If you guys do end up enjoying this video, don't forget to support it with a like. Oh, that actually worked. And if you aren't subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. So this is the official Champions League ball for the 2019-2020 tournament. And as you can see, just like last year, which featured a blue-based ball with white stars, this time around, the base color is dark blue, light blue, neon yellow, turquoise, black, pink, red, and probably some purple in there as well, with white stars that have a black outline. But you'll notice that the stars are a little bit bigger this year than what we've seen on any other Champions League ball, and that is the main design difference. They wanted to make the stars a little bit bigger, so they did. So you can see the tips of the stars no longer line up, which I realize might bother a lot of people, and it does make for these kind of weirdly shaped things filling in the gaps in between the stars. The panel design is now a little bit strange in my opinion, but ultimately the ball ends up feeling the same. And as far as the visuals are concerned, this pattern looks pretty good. I think the combination of colors, while it's maybe a little bit much, actually looks quite cool. And unlike the blue one that I felt had a very plasticky look to it, this does actually have a pretty expensive look. So I am curious to hear what everyone thinks of the look down in the comments. And then the women's Champions League ball, which is exactly the same aside from the colors, doesn't feature any white at all. The base of the ball is a combination of a light gray, kind of a dark royal blue, and black, with orange stars. Well, that do have this little pattern in there. You'll also find it on the men's variation. It's just more difficult to see because it's white on white. This, I think, has a very, I guess, industrial look to it. It almost seems like it's made out of metal from a visual standpoint, but I actually don't mind the look either. It's certainly far from traditional. This is kind of the type of colors and patterns that we're used to seeing on some of the cheaper balls, but it's now on the official match ball, and I have to say I'm not mad at it. You gotta keep in mind that Adidas has done so many Champions League balls at this point, they have to do something different in order to maintain interest around the ball. And I think when you're watching this on TV, it's definitely gonna stand out. And at the store, in comparison to pretty much any other match ball, this is the one that people are probably going to grab. Definitely better than the Minecraft World Cup ball. Speaking of the Telstar, there have been some Telstar elements implemented on the Champions League ball, because one of the most common complaints about that particular ball, although personally I didn't find this to be that significant of an issue, is that the surface of the ball was a little bit slippery. In the case of this brand new Champions League ball, if you look very closely, and it should be pretty easy to see given all the different colors, it has this kind of checkerboard texturing that is taken directly from the Telstar ball. So unlike previous seasons where the texturing would vary depending on the Champions League ball or the World Cup variations, they're now pretty much all exactly the same, and it definitely has a slightly grippier sensation to it, or at least doesn't feel as slick on your feet, which I think is a good thing. As far as the panel construction is concerned, obviously they made the stars bigger, which was more of a design choice for the sake of looks, I would say, rather than performance. But based on what I can tell from using the ball, it feels almost identical to the previous year's Champions League ball. So despite the panel shape technically being all new this time around, the overall feel and performance of the ball is pretty well the same. The ball as a whole is just put together very, very nicely. Pretty well flawless, I would say. The one piece of advice that I would give, though, is if you're buying one of these balls, either in person or online, is just give it a quick once over once you get the ball prior to using it. Because if there are any significant defects, I would definitely recommend returning the ball, but most of the time, they're pretty much perfect. I should also mention that all of the panels are fused rather than stitched, but that's been the case on the Champions League ball for a number of years now, and pretty much the standard on most top-end match balls. Which brings us to the big question, is the new Champions League ball actually worth $165? And I think the answer to that question is obviously going to vary from person to person. Some people will be able to justify it. The vast majority will say absolutely not. I wouldn't spend more than $20 on a ball. But my argument has always been this. If you're looking for the best of the best in terms of performance, in terms of build quality, in terms of durability, because realistically, if you take care of these match balls and use them exclusively on a pitch, whether it's turf or natural grass, you don't use them on concrete or something like that, kick them against the wall, they will pretty well last forever. So from that perspective, having the exact same ball that the pros use on TV that's going to last a very long time, yeah, it's worth $165. But should you buy them for that much money? Definitely not. Again, if you click that link down below, there are some SR4U coupon codes and you can get them for under the $165 retail price. But keep this in mind with pretty much any match ball. Short of being limited edition, come the next season, basically a year from now, these will be discounted, perhaps even sooner than that. And typically you're going to be able to get them for around $100, sometimes $80 if they really don't sell that well. I do think, however, that this particular match ball is going to do better than they have done in the last couple of years, simply based on the way that they look. And I would say that if you're wondering which one you should buy in terms of rarity, the women's variation is going to be a lot more exclusive, and I highly doubt you're going to run into anybody else with a women's Champions League official match ball. Plus, it looks cool. So in conclusion, the new Champions League ball, at least I think, is pretty cool looking. The quality is great. The design is pretty well the same as last year in terms of overall feel, with a little bit of additional grip. And whether or not it's worth it is something you kind of have to determine for yourself. To answer the question, is it the best match ball that money can buy right now? Well, that's a matter of personal opinion. I really think that it's as good as any match ball that you can buy, but it's very difficult for me to say that one is the best over everything else. I definitely prefer this over the Telstar variations. I've always preferred the Champions League ball over the World Cup models that Adidas has put out, but in comparison to something like the Nike Merlin, I would say this is pretty well on par. It has a little bit of a lighter feel in comparison to the Merlin, maybe curls a little bit more easily, I would say, but in general, I'd be happy to use this. I'd be happy to use a Nike Merlin. I'd be happy to use a Select match ball. There are lots of great options out there. It's really just determining which one is your personal favorite. I would say mainly based on looks, although the Merlin does have ACC. Anyways, guys, that's it for my review. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in either of these two balls for yourself, you can click the first link down below. It's going to take you to the review page on my website where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $165 retail price. And I'll also have the takedown variations listed as well if you're looking for something perhaps a little bit more affordable. If you have any questions regarding this ball or want me to compare it to anything else, let me know down below in the comments and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily content on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.